Hello and welcome to On Air with Owen. Me, Owen Richards, founder and CEO of Air Marketing, your go-to for outsourced B2B sales and marketing, and my new co-host, fellow business owner and great friend, Neil Finnie.
Hey everyone, Neil Finnie here, founder of the Generator Work Hub, a co-working space here in the beautiful Exeter, and also Next Gen Careers, a professional development program nurturing the talents of tomorrow.
Each week, we'll be diving into the everyday truths around running your own business. And trust me, we're not sugarcoating anything. It's all about the highs, the lows, and everything between when you run your own business as a founder.
Expect candid conversations and valuable insights between the two of us. Plus, we'll be joined by some special guests along the way.
So, time to sit back and tune in to this week's honest conversation.
Okay, so Owen's made me do this because he always does the introduction, so now I'm going to do it. So welcome to On Air with Neil. Oh, and Owen. And Owen.
You got your funny hat on today. Well done. You're not taking my job, mate. Not with that performance.
I don't want your job. You work far too hard.
Well, I thought you'd do better now. Now you've got a professional mic.
How much? Oh, yeah. How much FIFA have you played this week, Owen? How much FIFA?
How much FIFA? None.
There we go. I don't want your job.
Are you a master? Are you a FIFA master?
Well, I think sometimes I am, and then Wedge, John Morgan, are kind of at him in this. He always beats me. I was a few up, and now he's smashing me with his reverse scorpions.
Oh dear.
He's got. Did you see the Haaland goal yesterday?
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Sort of back heel, leg up in the air.
Yeah, that's John's normal kind of goal against me. So nice. I need more practice.
Nice.
Owen.
Well, we're not here to talk about FIFA, are we? Hosts, come on, facilitate, host.
Yeah, so we're here because I think this is an interesting one actually, because maybe it's even in the case that I'm absolutely bludgeoning your intros that you normally do, because the brand of Owen, people take you seriously, and this is what I wanted to chat about. I wanted to chat about founders' brands and the importance of it, and if we need to do it as founders, because I think I don't know, a lot of times I'm like, I should be a face. I should be more vocal. I'm heading up companies. I need to be more visible. Sometimes I can struggle putting myself out there. Like, that might seem hard for many people to believe, but it can be. It can be really difficult. And some people just seem to be very natural at it. They kind of relax into it and they like that role. And it's not that I don't like it. I know a lot of other people that absolutely freaking hate it and don't want to get anywhere near a camera or don't want to share their voice. But I think I kind of sit in the middle. But I think it's going to be more of a necessity moving forward than it's ever been before. And I think it's something that's been growing over the last decade. And especially for SMEs, new businesses, I think there's an expectation that the founder is visible. So I wanted to get your take on it and, how do you build your brand? Do you think it's important? Do you think it's needed? Do you think, a company needs a face?
It's a really interesting one. And I can only talk from my experience, or I guess for some clients and people in my network. There are different questions in there. Can you run a successful business without it? Yeah, I think you can. I think you probably can. Does it help if you can do it and do it well? Yeah, I think it does. And I think it's like anything. There's a scale, isn't there? So there are people who have built a business out of their personal brand. And actually, I won't name any names, but there are a couple of people I've met who have got incredible personal brands, particularly if you go on LinkedIn. It's like the amount of followers, the amount of engagement they'll get. If they put a course up online or an event up online, it's snapped up and it's booked up. I've met them, done business with them, sat in a meeting, worked through a challenge with them. They're not very good at all. But they've just done an incredible job of that. And once you hit a critical mass, it's like a snowball effect, right? It just rolls and it rolls and it rolls and it rolls, and they can make money out of the same thing over and over again, the same content over and over again, the same talk over and over again. But because they got a name and a brand, they've done an incredible job of being successful financially off the back of that. So no, I think that's the real extreme end of the scale, but it's possible. And I guess like anything, you know, all kids want to grow up being YouTubers nowadays. For everyone that's really successful doing that, there's a lot that don't get that far. So let's just remember that. I think if I look at it from my experience, though, you know, it's interesting because I never intentionally set out to build a personal brand, and I don't think I've got an incredible personal brand by any means. I think it's good. I think there's loads more we could do with it. I had some good marketeers in our team that drove me to do it, and that felt it would be a really important thing for our business early in the business, and then that's moved on a lot. And I think I kind of had a period in and around 2018, 2019, where Air was growing so quickly. I had a really good story to tell. I had loads of really interesting stuff going on. I've always been quite open, as you know, as a person, and I wear my up my sleeve and I talk about things and quite happy to be vulnerable and all the rest of it. And so talking about that journey, people, I think, saw different content from me to what they were seeing normally from lots of other people. And then that rolled into COVID and all that kind of stuff. And again, I was really quite raw with my content and quite sort of, I definitely crossed that barrier of personal and professional with the content that I was producing, and that really helped. And so I do see a lot of business value from it nowadays, where, you know, there are a lot of referrals that come into the business that come in because of the work that I've done on personal brand, because of hosting events and, you know, comparing at events and then tying that and connecting LinkedIn. And then the marketing team here, they do more than 50% of the content that I post on my personal brands now. I have definitely fallen off the wagon the last couple of years, though. Definitely.
Why? Why not so much?
I think, to your point, there are parts of it that I enjoy. So I really enjoy standing on a stage, hosting an event, facilitating a panel discussion, that sort of stuff. This kind of stuff, really enjoy it. I don't actually default to social media, though, as a person. And nowadays, that's where you build your personal brand. So I'm not a detail person. I'm not a process person. I don't sit writing loads of content. And I don't wake up in the morning. And for a period of time with LinkedIn, I was doing that. I was on a roll with it, because LinkedIn's our strongest channel. But I always felt like I had to work hard to do it. It's never my natural. And I think I've just lost the habit of it. And I also think it's, to your point, there's a sense that you have to do it. So everyone's doing it now. So when I first saw the value of personal brand, people were still using LinkedIn as quite a regimented, oh, I've got a job, I've got this. And if you posted about, you know, I remember 2018, 19 doing a post around the bit of stuff that we've talked about, the stress of building a business and some of the things that had gone wrong and some of the mistakes I'd made. And the engagement was incredible because I was the only one talking about that, or one of few. Whereas now everybody's doing that. So it's really hard to continually stand out. And I'm tired. I get on my LinkedIn feed and it's the same people saying the same stuff on repeat over and over again. I think I've just run out of steam with it, if I'm honest.
It's maybe LinkedIn is actually something we can discuss at another time, because it has changed. I think it's evolving, for good or for bad. I don't know. You know, obviously recently they've changed how the algorithms work with their videos, and especially now the short form videos. So if you go to your mobile device and you look on the videos there, it feels very much like TikTok or Instagram Reels in terms of the content that's out there. And you're right. It's like you're battling for space all the time. And I think I'm similar to you. Like I think I go in fits of the amount of time I spend on social, and maybe trying to build a bit of a brand. I think I've always struggled as well, because having multiple businesses, it never felt that I had
What's your
one
voice?
particular thing exactly, and it was really hard. And I spoke to someone a couple of months ago about this, and they're a bit of a LinkedIn expert, and they're like, well, you know, build the brand about you then. I was like, yeah, but I'm not Stephen Bartlett. You know, like, who cares about Neil? Like, yeah, you might care about Corkscrew or the Generator or Next Gen, Habit Pro, or whatever. But I don't think I've got enough that I can be brand Neil.
No, I think you're wrong. I think, do you know, that's really interesting you say that. So I learned this very early on. I think you've got that the wrong way around. People are more likely to care about Neil if they connect with you, they know you, they like you, they understand you, than they would be about a business. So
But I don't know what do I talk about then? Just everything. Like it's a mishmash of so much. I talk about a
Well, this is the
generator. I talk
point.
about
Yeah, but this is the point, right? So you have core values as a person, right? You have core values and beliefs in business. We talk about stuff all the time. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about the generator space or whether you're talking about Career Habit Pro, or whether you talk whatever you, or whether you're talking about your family, right? You are Neil. That's the person. It's all made up of that. So actually, sharing stories from different angles and different experiences. When I talk to you about what's it like to run a business, you've got 3 different angles on that, not one. You got 3, 4 different angles on it, and that's more valuable. So here we are talking about doing a series about founding your own business and growing your own business. That's an identity in itself, and there's different colors to that identity. But the point here is that where a personal brand lands for me is where you know the person, not the businesses that they run. It's when you know the person and something about them. So I couldn't tell you a great deal about Stephen Bartlett's business. Right? I could tell you a lot about him and what I think about him, and the process on his podcast and what he does to other people, and some of the things that he does that are inspiring, some of the things I don't like so much. Couldn't tell you a great deal about his business. I know what it is and what it's called and a little bit, but because I don't care enough. I care about the person behind it, even if
it's
he isn't as
interesting.
interesting as you.
So, clearly not. Got a few years on Stevie boy. So, like, if there's new business starting, or with people that kind of are currently within their business, they have their business, and they're thinking about developing their brand, do they then develop just who they are as a person, or do they build something around their organization? So if someone just has one business, do you become that business? Like for me, and I must admit, I think about this sometimes. It'd be a hell of a lot easier if Neil was just a generator. It's in Exeter. I
Sure.
could go to events. People would know Neil's the generator or whatever. It becomes far easier. And actually, I think that there'd be a lot of value for our business at the generator, with my brand being, I guess, more visible. Because
I get
it's
it.
a locally based business. It's somewhat easier.
And are you diluting your brand by having 2 or 3 things to talk about? And I think if you can connect them nicely, but I see your point. And I think that the reality is you've got to do a certain amount of business content. You've got to do a certain amount of expertise, thought leadership, opinion-based stuff around your area of expertise. And I think you've got that, and they can interlink. But it's the personal stuff that gets people to that business content, in my opinion. So I always talk about the most, the most engaged. I'm talking about business brand here rather than personal brand, but the most engaged post we have ever done as a company on our socials. Have a guess what it was?
Was I on it?
No.
What?
Stephen Bart. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
The most engaged post we ever did on our socials as a company. I'll give you 2 categories. Was it business content? Was it silly content?
I'm going to go silly then, because it's like people love a bit of humor.
We tried to fit as many people as we could in our tiniest meeting room in the office, and we did it on one of those time lapse video that goes really quickly.
But that was on LinkedIn
across all of our channels, and it was the single by a long way. It was the single most engaged posts or content we've ever put on our social channels. Why? Because it showed personality. It showed that it made people laugh. It made people get emotional response. Whereas I'm reading thought leadership about how best to structure your office space, going into your generator world or whatever. I'm not getting any of that emotional stuff that gets us going as humans. It doesn't mean it doesn't tick other boxes, but it needs that. And that's where I think that personal brand thing is so important, because if I know you as a person and I get a sense of the emotions that I get might be, or senses I get might be trust, it might be like, that I like you, it might be that you make me laugh, it might be that you whatever, then I'm more likely to read your business content, because I've already got that. It might be a one-way relationship through a screen like it is with Stephen Bartlett, but people feel like they got a relationship with him because they know him and they understand him, and therefore if he produces a podcast, people are going to go watch it. If nobody knew him and he produced that podcast, it wouldn't get watched, it wouldn't get engaged.
Well, a question for you then. We're talking about brand here and about personal brand at the moment, just about maybe like the key individuals that are driving the business forward. Are you put off by an organization where you can't find the face? Because I think, if you look at website metrics, and again, there's probably people out there that would actually know the numbers behind this, but the About Us page on websites is one of the most visited web pages on people's websites. So are you put off by not being able to identify the key individuals behind a business, or do you not care? Is it not something you look for? Maybe when you're partnering with an organization, or maybe when you're looking at buying
No,
a
I would.
service.
I think that's a fair. If I went to a website, it didn't give me anything human, anything that showed me who the people were, I would likely. It depends on what I'm buying, right? So if you're buying stationery, probably not too bothered about it. Not that I buy stationery very often, but if I'm buying a service that relies on people to deliver it, yeah, I'd want to be able to see who those people are for sure. For sure. And if I had two providers and I saw two different websites and two buying journeys, and one just didn't show any of that, and even down to, if you think about their websites, like, I think you can tell when something's a stock image. So stock image and nothing on the About Us page, whereas another one had more personalized imagery, a video of the office space and people in it, and then the About Us with people that I can link through to on LinkedIn. I'm far more likely to trust that, far more likely to want to engage with it.
So more that kind of branding of the individuals gives a bit more authenticity to it. Like another question for you. This is an interesting one, and this is something that I came across about 6 months ago. So we always look at the World Economic Forum's top 10 skills for the future of your career. How to be successful in your career. And about 6 months ago, they included social influence as a skill that will be required to be successful, not just as a
Yep.
founder, but in your job. So
Any role.
when you start recruiting for new hires now, do you look at their social influence and their brand? Do you look at, okay, how connected are you? How influential are you in your community? Are you active there with your self brand? Because I guess the reason it's important is because companies want to leverage it. They want to take someone's social influence
Yep.
and they want to be able to, I guess, kind of utilize